As part of our series, A Study in the Psalms, Beautiful Theology, looking at the truths of God through the lens of poetry, as we study the Psalms, we're going to be learning about the Psalms. And there is a video about Hebrew poetry and how to do it that I taught from the book of Amos, the prophetic book, and that sort of poetry that will be useful for this. But as we learn about the Psalms, I am going to encourage us to creatively write Psalms that kind of match up with the themes of the week. That will be the homework to try to express what we believe about God in our own words, in the style of the Hebrew poetry that we find in the Psalms. So, with that, this is the homework for the week. Using some of the elements of Hebrew poetry, which you can find in the video linked in the description from Amos, write a psalm that expresses the foundational biblical worldview, either like it is in Psalm 1 or Psalm 2, and you can see the videos descriptions of Psalm 1, 2 in previous videos away. Try to use the four-part structure. Hebrew poetry is very simple. It's often just subject, verb, object, modifier. Those four parts in a very straightforward way. It also is very terse. It uses as few words as possible. Sometimes it skips over connectors and things like that that make it hard to translate, but it just has a feel for it because it skips over those. Try to use very vivid and concrete words, very solid ideas that describe the real world, but uses it to describe how you relate to God through the real world. And try to use parallelisms. Um, Optional, start the subsequent parallel lines with and, because that it quite often happens in Hebrew poetry that they use that connecting syllable to start each of the parallel lines. But you can update the theology to include New Testament concepts because we are creating our Psalms with our theology in light of Christ, but using the structure of the Hebrew poetry that we find in the Psalms. So that will be the homework each week. This week we talked about Psalm 1 and 2 and the foundational theology that sets the groundwork for the rest of the Psalms. So see if you can express that in your own Psalm. Some other weeks we'll look at laments or some other things like that. But that's the homework for this week. And if you like that idea, I will be posting my version of my Psalms, and there will be one this week that takes this homework and applies it to kind of what I see as well. Be on the lookout for that. Okay.